Hi. This is an embarrassing question for me as a realtor that I am facing foreclosure. I don't like to think of that, and I don't see that in my future. But because of the line of work I do, I've just got so much tied to that. I have a plan for how to get beyond this, but being 2 months behind on this home is really kind of, like I've heard you mention earlier, kind of tied me up. And when I saw my friend's shoulders finally fall, I want that feeling too. Can you help me?
So you definitely are on the right track in terms of what the main problem is the fact that you are beating yourself up because of the line of work you do, and you should know better, and you shouldn't have let this happen, and what a terrible example you are for any of your clients, and that's all the stuff that's keeping you from moving through this with more ease. So there's a lot to undo here. There's a lot to look at and think about. And a lot of it has to do with, it's wrapped up in your ego. So when you can move past the point, when you can look at this foreclosure and say, welcome it with open arms. Say, if this house gets foreclosed on, it will be fine. And if I go through a foreclosure, and my clients find out about it, it's okay. When you can get to that place, that is when, and welcome the foreclosure, that is when you can actually move through it and probably be able to avoid it.
Mm-hmm. I have a mental and a financial strategy for that I'm using that gives me that vibration. And I do have people renting the home. My fear is that they're going to get a notice that says this chick's 2 months behind, and then so what happens? Yeah, then so what happens? So then I'm still, right now it's generating revenue that I'm actually, it's generating revenue. I don't know what happens, but that's my
so it's
next
ego
fear
again.
Behind
you don't
that
want your
fear.
Renters to see you as
more
irresponsible.
Ego. There you go. Yeah, more ego. And I'm doing the best at this time I can, getting to the next mental plane, or what can I do?
So we already see our theme developing here in terms of it's not so much about doing as it is about being.
Being, okay.
And so we will get to the doing part in just a minute, but the most important part is the being part.
Being okay with it.
Being okay.
Whatever happens.
We just said welcoming a foreclosure with open arms.
Bring it on.
If it happens, it's okay. And really meaning that when you say it and think it.
Yeah. That's a hard one.
And that is hard, but that's where your resistance is.
Yeah.
That's what you're pushing against.
Okay.
And when you can soften that, even if you can just soften it a little bit, you don't have to totally get there right away, right this minute, If you can soften that resistance to the foreclosure. We talked with another friend that had a similar issue about bankruptcy. And he had declared bankruptcy in the past, which was fine, and he eventually was able to see that as a blessing and move through it great. But then when he started to have financial problems later, his big thing was, I don't want to go through bankruptcy again.
Mm-hmm.
And the fear of going through bankruptcy again and all of that it meant to him, in terms of his ego and being irresponsible and, what that would mean to have to go through bankruptcy twice, because, doing it once is fine, but doing it twice, oh my God, what kind of crazy person are you to an irresponsible person are you to do that twice? So it's the same thing. Once he could soften his fear about going through bankruptcy and say to himself, you know what? Even if I had to declare bankruptcy again, it would be fine.
And it's not my identity or who I am.
No.
It doesn't diminish my abilities in any way.
And if you lost that house, what would happen?
I'd probably be pretty happy. It's not here. It's in
so,
Austin. I've
and
never
so be
lived
careful
in it.
about that.
Oh.
Maybe this is what you're manifesting because you're tired of the house.
Well, I'd prefer to have it removed on other terms. But with the
Indeed.
economy the way it is, and paying it off and blah,
And be
blah,
careful
blah.
about the story you tell about the economy. All of you.
I say
you
that
know.
to people, but it's hard to live it, honestly.
It is.
I see that it's a reality, that the economy is...
It is a creation.
It was here
It is
and now
not
it's
a
here, but we're
reality.
still all on the same playing field. We're all still...
No, you are not on the same playing field. Many of you are living in this, quote, reality, thinking that it is real and thinking that you are the victims of the economy. And some of you are starting to understand that it doesn't matter what the economy is doing. It doesn't matter what, seeing all these other people losing their jobs or whatever you're seeing. That does not have to have an effect on you. It will have an effect on you if you allow it to have an effect on you. But it does not have to have an effect on you. And we know that it is very difficult in your physical position to see suffering around you and see, lots of foreclosures or see lots of people losing their jobs or whatever you're seeing and not let that affect your vibration. But we're here to tell you that if you can figure out a way, and it is different for all of you, the way you will figure out to rise above it. But if you can figure out a way to rise above in terms of looking at the situation from that bird's eye view, looking at it in the way that God sees it, then you'll be able to not be so affected. And we understand that you see other people suffering, and so you want to be compassionate. But the most detrimental thing you can do for anyone else and for yourself is to let yourself get down into that lower vibration of suffering just because you see someone else suffering.